Morning, folks. It's Marie. Today, I wanted us to chat about the CRE bacteria. I don't know if some of you at least know about this bacteria. It is a bacteria that is very prevalent in hospitals all over the world. It is a superbug and it cannot be treated with antibiotics. In fact, the medical fraternity actually tell you that there's nothing that they can do about it. And this is specifically what I wanted to speak about today. Some of you know the story as you've been part of my life for a long time. In March of 2017, my husband was admitted to hospital in South Africa, but as I said, this bacteria, the CRE, is prevalent in all hospitals all over the world. You can actually Google it and see what you come up with. In any event, he wasn't there for a very long time when he tested positive for the CRE bacteria. This meant that as family members, myself, my children, um, we were allowed to see him. He was put into isolation in an isolation ward, um, but to be able to see him, to go into his presence, meant that we had to put the caps, the masks, the bibs, um, the surgical gloves, everything had to be in place. And then certain people, young people or little children and older people, like my mother-in-law or my grandchildren, they were not allowed to go to see him at all, as they say that this bacteria is um, it spreads very quickly and very easily to others. Obviously, the very young and the elderly are more susceptible, so they refused entry to anybody that was tiny or people that were elderly. Well, I suppose I consider myself elderly, but people such as my mom-in-law could not see my hubby. So they tested him, I think, weekly, and every time the test came up positive, 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 and then a meeting was called after his paralysis. A doctor in the April punctured an artery on his spine and left him paralyzed. This was towards the end of April 2017. Um, but like I say, I don't remember the exact time he was diagnosed with the CRE, but it was shortly after he was admitted to hospital. Um, anyway, as I said, he tested positive over and over, and then they called a meeting between the professors, the doctors, I'm just trying to think who all, there were so many people present. It was dietitians and the physiotherapists, and everybody was just present at this meeting. The meeting was held at my husband's bedside, um, and specifically to discuss his paralysis, but also the CRE bacteria. Now, I was told, or we were told, that as I said, the CRE cannot be treated. According to them, there's nothing they can do about it. It is drug resistant. It is a drug resistant bacteria. So no antibiotics will be given, no treatment will be given for this bacteria. Anyway, after the long chat or the meeting about his paralysis and how permanent that was and irreversible, and the meeting which also was about the CRE bacteria, I had the audacity, I suppose people would call it, to ask the doctors that were present, um, whether colloidal silver um, would be considered and what their thoughts were. Anyway, needless to say, they had a good giggle and a laugh at me, and I was told that basically no, there's no treatment for the CRE bacteria. In any event, I decided not to argue. I mean, I am not a professor, I'm not a medical doctor, and I wasn't going to get into a verbal argument with these doctors and professors. So I decided shortly after that. Now I'm situated in Polokwane, which is about, I'm speaking under correction, but about 300 kilometers from where my husband was hospitalized. So my kids live in the Gauteng area, or two of my children, um, and my youngest son and my daughter. So they were able to visit my husband on a daily basis, um, and made a point of doing such. Days when they didn't go, for instance, his brother and other family members would visit. But I decided, listen, I'm going to get my kids to sneak colloidal silver into the hospital, disguised in normal water bottles. In other words, these bottled waters that you buy, because colloidal silver looks like water. I mean, it's see-through and there's no visible difference. So they would not be able to detect that they were taking in another product besides water. Obviously, any medication and even natural meds are not allowed to be taken into the hospital or given to the patients. But in any event, my kids sneaked in the colloidal silver, and my hubby started taking this daily on a number of times per day. And anyway, then after about 3 months in hospital, he was eventually transferred to the rehab facility where he spent another 3 months. Um, but the rehab facility did not want to take my husband because of his CRE bacteria, as they felt that obviously that this bacteria could spread through the wards and to everybody else within their facility as well. So there was quite a big issue with regards to getting him transferred. But needless to say that after X amount of time, and I should have kept a diary of exactly when, what, how, which I didn't do. It's obvious that I was very, firstly, I mean, my husband's paralysis came as a huge shock. I mean, he went walking into the hospital and then left paralyzed. So my brain actually stopped functioning for a long time. I couldn't think clearly. Like I said before, I stopped looking after myself. I just sort of had a day-to-day existence and wasn't thinking clearly at all. So in hindsight today, I admit I should have kept a diary and on how quickly it did take a few months. The CRE bacteria did not clear up immediately. But as I said, he was tested, I think, on a weekly basis. I know it was often. And eventually he was tested clear of the CRE bacteria. Now, according to them, this is virtually impossible. Now, the only thing we did was the colloidal silver. So I've got no proof that it is the colloidal silver that actually did this, but I mean, he wasn't given any other medication, for the CRE bacteria. So the only thing that I can ascribe this to would be the colloidal silver. We do know that colloidal silver kills over 650 different viruses, bacteria, and protozoa. So yes, I'm of the opinion that it was definitely the colloidal silver that brought about the healing and got rid of this nasty bacteria, which the doctors claim they can't treat. So I'm putting this out for those who find themselves in a similar situation and where they are told that, listen, there is no cure and there's nothing that can be done with this, and if you should get the CRE bacteria and if the bacteria should end up in your bloodstream, it's very serious and you're going to die because they can't treat it and all the rest of it, then at least consider the option of the colloidal silver and try it. Like I say, it would be interesting, but as far as I'm concerned, it was the colloidal silver that brought the healing about. Anyway, it's not just for CRE bacteria. I will discuss colloidal silver in more depth as well. I just wanted to specifically chat on the CRE and to give you this information, which may be useful to you. Um, and yeah, then we'll chat further about other health issues and other health products as well. And as I said, I certainly will discuss the colloidal silver in more depth with you. Have a gorgeous day. Bye.